Visual perception. Visual perception depends on one's physiological and psychological cues. The physiological cues are directly related to the adjustment of the eyes. Illusions. Illusions are perceptions of appearance, a sound, or other sensory experiences which at time do not correspond to realities. These are false or distorted perceptions which can be erroneous. Therefore, illusions are misperceptions of the eyes. The following are some optical or visual illusions. The right side up and right side down cake. Looking at the cake, one can notice that the cake has one missing slice. But if one holds the picture upside down, one can see only one slice of cake that is right side up. No matter how many times one rotates the picture back and forth, it appears the hands are holding the place upright. Illusion of length. So these are two lines that have the same length, but yet line A seems shorter and line B seems longer. Another example here, looking at the illustration, seems to show that the vertical line is longer than the horizontal line, yet they have the same length. One states that we tend to overestimate the vertical line when we compare it with horizontal line because the eyes moves less often and less easy vertically than horizontally. Here is an example of illusion by direction. The figure in this page, the diagonal line is continuous but A and B seems not to meet if extended towards each other. This explains the tendency to overestimate big angles and underestimate small ones. Illusion in motion pictures. Those who usually watch movies have the idea that the figures on the screen move. Actually, the figures on the screen do not move, but they appear to be moving because of the speed in which a series of slightly various still pictures flash on a silver screen, and the eyes see these as movement. The movement is in one's perception, not on the screen. So movie directors use this to minimize the time and to minimize the effort in filming a movie. After image. After image is an optical experience which happens to persist after the removal of the stimulus. For instance, a person looking intently and longer at a bright object will still continue to see the image of the object after it has been removed. There are two kinds of after image, the positive and the negative. Positive after image is seen just as it was before the image is removed. Everything about the color, brightness, and other details are exactly the picture of the original. Positive after images are evident when the bright stimulus is immediately followed by dark after field. The negative after image is when the color or brightness of the object is a complement or opposite of the original. One good example of this is when we are outside the house and the daylight is so bright, and then when we head back to our room, we can see dark images for a short time, and that is an after image of the brightness of the sun. Auditory perception. So, from the word auditory, which means sounds, it is the interpretation of sound. It is concerned with the location and source of sound. There are two things to consider in terms of sound: the distance and the depth perception. This is the ability to perceive the world in three dimensions. Depth perception allows the person to accurately gauge the distance of an object. Haptic perception. Haptic is a Greek word hap, meaning sense of touch. This is the earliest sense to develop in fetus and the development of other senses like vision. Perception of time. It is said that time can be perceived either longer or shorter. When one is busy and deeply engrossed in his work, time seems to be shorter. But when one is not doing anything or waiting for someone or something, or the work he is engaged in is boring, time is perceived to be longer. One oftentimes hears this expression as the eternity of waiting or the longest hour, the longest minute, or the longest day. When one is having an enjoyable company, it seems that time is too short, but when one is in pain, time seems to be long.